crawled out of your chair and now you're laying on the floor. Excellent. Welcome to foam rolling session. I'm your instructor, Duane, and this is my foam roller. I only have one. I know there's lots of different options out there, and I meant to speak about that a little bit last time. I think I did it just a tiny bit, but there's so many different options. I think they're all good, but this is my favorite type. It's simple, it's smooth, it's hard. It's a little too big to travel with me, so I can just cut a piece off and take that with me if I need. But if you have any questions about more detail on foam rollers and what's the wrong kind, you can message me or get in touch with me. Generally, anything that's too soft feels good to start with, but then it's not that effective. All right. Okay, so today we're doing upper body, foam rolling for the upper body. So I have, again, just a nice little routine that I go through that takes me from step to step and make sure I hit all the spots. And then when the session's over today, and this feels like one of those promotional suggestions to hook you in, to keep you watching right to the end, but we're gonna end the way I like to end all of my foam rolling sessions, and that's a special little position I'm gonna show you at the end. I didn't show you guys on Tuesday because I forgot. If you're just joining us today and you missed Tuesday's session, that was foam rolling the lower body, and that's up on YouTube, Saskatchewan Polytechnic Fitness on Demand. Okay, we're gonna start with rolling the back. And you're gonna notice that I'm gonna skip the lower back, okay? I know it's done, not traditionally, it's not common for people to roll the lower back. And I certainly do not like the idea of rolling the lower back because your lower back has no inherent structural integrity to it. If you took your spine out and wiggled it, it's as loose and wiggly as a dish towel. And the lower back has no ribs attached. There's nothing there that gives it any sort of structural rigidity. So I just skip right over that. Not a fan of that at all. So we're gonna go from the lower thoracic through the entire full thoracic, okay? So to start with, you kind of put the forearms or the elbows on the roller, and if you lean back, you're gonna end up with the roller at a really nice starting position, okay? And from here, just like we did on Tuesday, foam rolling requires the rest of the body that's not being treated to this wonderful massage to do a little bit of work, okay? So I like to grab my head with my hands and then lift the bum up and then just take a little piece and roll back and forth, okay? So this is where you're gonna wanna practice. For example, there's a reason why I've got my yoga mat here. It's because my foam roller on the wooden floor will just slide away on me, okay? Plus it's nice and soft to lie on. All right, so I'm just going back and forth a couple of inches just to see what's gonna happen here. Now, as we do this, you might feel or hear popping and snapping, okay? The spine is really good at these audible releases when you start moving it and pushing on it. So that's completely normal, nothing to worry about. Unless, of course, you get a shot of pain with the audible release. That's something to indicate a number of problems, all of which mean stop doing this, move to a different area, okay? So we did that first little segment, okay? All I'm gonna do now is roll down a couple inches, okay? And then take that kind of nice oscillating sensation and just go back and forth. So one of the pieces to effective foam rolling involves this kind of oscillation, gentle rhythmic motion back and forth, okay? It's what you do with, well, any animal, including people. If they're agitated or upset or stressed, you move them back and forth gently, right? Well, you can do that to yourself. And then you start to relax. All right, so now, as we get a little closer to the top of the spine, the shoulder blades are there, okay? So we're gonna let that foam roller kind of get in between the shoulder blades and on the shoulder blades. And this is where it can get a little spicy because some of those shoulder blade muscles, the rotator cuff muscles, if they're tender and sore, it might now feel like, again, somebody planted a golf ball in your back, and you're concerned as to how and when that might have happened. So you can work through it, work around it, work up to it. If it's tender and sore, your measurement of tolerance is, can you still relax? If the discomfort is too much and you tense and hold, then find a way to reduce the weight or the pressure. For example, as I'm on my upper back now, notice my hips have touched the floor. So that's a way to take a little bit of the weight off. Now I can't roll as far, okay? Because the softness of my rear end only moves so much, okay? But that's okay. I'll just move maybe an inch or two, and then I'll pick a new little location, and it pops and snaps. If it feels less tender and I can handle more pressure, then the hips come up and I move. With all of this, parts of your body are trying to relax, like the upper back. Parts of your body are working, like your arms holding up your head, or your hips are working. And as you're doing all of that, remember to keep breathing. All right? Cool. Now, if you feel comfortable, once you've gone through all the different parts of your back segmentally, then you can try a full back roll. Remember, you're only going down to the top of your lumbar spine. Don't go into your lower back, okay? I should mention also, depending on what you're wearing, this is a really nice thing to do, foam roller straight onto your skin, okay? Because you might find after a couple of rolls, the shirt is now wrapped around the foam roller. So one of these things that if you're doing it in a fitness center environment, obviously you're going to be dressed, but you're doing this at home, to make it a little simpler, take your shirt off and you won't have to deal with the foam roller taking your shirt off for you, okay? So let's start that process at the beginning again, where we just leaned back onto the foam roller, elbows on, we feel the top of our lower back contact the foam roller, and now I'm just going to do a little bit of a wiggle. If it feels comfortable to not hold my head, certainly. I'm more of in an upright position here, so that works. Okay. Now from this position, let's put the bum back on the floor, okay? And so here we are kind of in a half sit-up position, okay? So what I'm gonna suggest we do, and this certainly you can move to holding the head or just keeping your chin tucked, but I'm going to stop rolling on the roller, and from this position, I'm going to try to let my shoulders drop a little bit, okay? And I'm trying to bend my back backwards over the foam roller. It's going to go as far as it wants to. And there can be pieces of this that it feels like, I don't think this is supposed to happen, but it is. So be patient and breathe and see how far you can go. Okay, and when you think you're done, then come back up, all right? And then we're gonna scooch the bum down the mat, maybe an inch, all right? And now we're gonna do this same extension on the next few segments. This is where it's very easy to get that audible release, that pop and snap that many of us might attribute to a chiropractic appointment, okay? You're breathing, exhaling, really exhaling as you extend. And then when you've gone as far as you can, you're gonna come up, and now the bum scoots down the mat another inch, and we're just working our way up the spine, getting some extension, okay? I drop a little bit, maybe an inch or two with every exhalation. You'll find as you inhale, that almost naturally makes you rise, but then exhale, and you drop. Now, as you're doing this, if you get to a point that when you're extending, it really feels like
It no longer feels like a golf ball is stuck in your back, but now it feels like someone's sticking a knife right in your back. It can be really sharp. It can be really painful. That still doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong. It still may be beneficial, but you do not want to just push through that spot. You want to work up to it and then come out of it. Okay, if I feel like that, like somebody's sticking a knife in my back as I go halfway down, and there it is, and it's going to catch your breath. It's going to stop your exhalation. You're going to try to breathe out, and then it just stops, okay? Then that's where you stop, and then you just gently come out of that, and then try again, okay? You might find that within 2 minutes, that stabbing pain is gone, or within 2 weeks, or maybe it takes 2 months, okay? The discomfort just comes from the fact that the joints aren't sliding very well. They're sticking, and when we get to feel that, okay? All right, once we're kind of finished doing this extension thing, so now we can lift the bum. If we want to try a full meal deal roll all the way to the top, and then to the bottom of the thoracic spine, so not into the lower back, okay? Oh, all right. So as we rest, give our body a bit of a rest from that, I'm going to remind us to, at the end, for sure, we're going to drink some water, okay? Because all this foam rolling draws fluid from our blood into the tissues, makes the tissues feel better, but now we might feel dehydrated because our blood has less fluid in it. Okay, that's basically how you can do the whole back area. When we get into the upper back and shoulder area, this is where things get a little more, I'll say, complicated, because foam rolling is designed for the soft, squishy parts of your body. So from the waist down, to be honest, besides the knees and the ankles, there is no end of soft, squishy parts, right? From the waist up, there's more bony prominences, more bones that are kind of in the way, so we have to be cognizant of that. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest we do is I'm going to line my left side here, and the foam roller is going to go basically in my armpit, okay? And I want my hand facing up to the ceiling, or maybe I'll put it on my head to start with, okay? So as we lie with the foam roller basically stuck on the side of our armpit, it's now applying pressure to part of the rotator cuff. The latissimus dorsi is in there, and then there's a few rotator cuff muscles that are there. And right off the bat, if you've got any pressure on there, again, you might notice, I don't think this is good for me. This feels horrible. So yeah, welcome to the world of beginning your foam rolling journey. Okay, now in this position, I'm stacked right on my side. All I'm going to do is take my right foot behind me to support me, and I'm going to let myself open up towards the ceiling, okay? And very quickly, we might figure out why we're doing this. Now we're onto the whole flat part of the shoulder blade and into other rotator cuff muscles, all of which are seemingly continuously working with typing and mousing and fine motor tasks, so they get sore. So I've rolled back pretty much as far as I can, okay? From that position, I'm just going to return to that sideways position. So the foam roller isn't doing the rolling now. The body's doing the foam rolling, or the rolling, okay? Back and forth. So as we do this, hopefully there are some positions that feel good. Inevitably, there's going to be a few positions as we transition from sideline to backline that are tenuous, right? It's like, wow, what's that? Okay, that's just a muscle that's tight, it's not relaxing, and it gives us this sensation of discomfort, okay? So our goal is to breathe, is to relax. In this position, if it's the neck that's getting tired and has a hard time continuing, then just take a break, put your head in your hand, breathe, relax, and off we go. So on the topic of discomfort, and I mentioned this in our last foam rolling class, some of this can be really uncomfortable, but it's really safe. You can safely cause yourself as much discomfort as you feel comfortable with, okay? As long as you're continuing to relax and let yourself melt over the foam roller. So
you know, you are the ice cube that somebody left on the counter, and now you're just getting shinier and rounder and melting continuously, okay? So from this, I'm going to flip over, I'm going to do the other side. So same idea, going out to the right armpit. Now, a little bonus here. So right armpit on my side, getting ready. So I've got my right leg straight, my left knee or my left foot's behind me, ready to support me. I'm going to open up this hand onto the floor, and I'm going to see what happens when I roll towards my back. So the visual of my eyebrows rising continuously as I try to talk like everything's fine, it's no big deal, is challenging. And on the point of pain, as long as the pain isn't causing any damage, which none of this is, the experience of going through something that's uncomfortable is actually really healthy for you. It stimulates your immune system, and it makes you overall more resistant to everything in general, flus and colds. I don't know what it's doing for COVID, but it makes your immune system stronger because your body reacts to this. It wakes it up, okay? These motions should be really slow. If you go faster, you can easily just kind of bump and flip over those sore spots, and you don't want to do that. You want to go into that tenderness. You want to enjoy the tenderness, notice it, appreciate it. And then each time you pass over, going back and forth, notice that it's changing, okay? If there's a few situations or circumstances where maybe you don't notice the change right away, but for the most part, most of us should be noticing a change as we go back and forth here, okay? Awesome. All right, we're doing one more little pass. There's one little marble in there that's just not going away, but eventually it will. Oh, perfect. All right. So that's one way to get to that kind of whole rotator cuff and the side of the shoulder treated. So let's look at the chest. The chest on everybody is typically a tight area, a closed area, just because everything that we do in our life is in front of us, especially whether in the old days, if you had the washboard and you were washing clothes, that was in front of you. And today it's just finer motions, but it's always in front, always closed. So the chest muscle includes the entire top half of the trunk, right? Of all of that, the most important part to treat with massage or stretching or foam rolling is the part that's right in front of the shoulder. So the soft part just above the armpit is our real target spot, okay? So with that, what I'm going to do is try to position this. So I'm lying flat on the ground. The roller is angled, so the back end is further away from me. The tip is almost under my face. And now I'm going to put my front of my shoulder and chest on it, okay? And here you might find a place to put your head maybe on the floor. All of our bodies are such different shapes and proportions, so we kind of have to find a place for everything as it works for you. And like I said last time, it honestly takes some practice to get good at foam rolling. All right, so now what I'm trying to do is push my left shoulder down into the foam roller while I'm keeping my hand and arm totally relaxed. And I'm going to take my other hand off to the side and use it as kind of an anchor to push off of, okay? I want the part that's on the roller to be just relaxed. I'm going to take another part of my body, so my right arm, and I'm going to push. Whoa. All right. And this can sometimes create some electrical symptoms or feelings in your fingers because you've got some nerves in there, but there's lots of soft tissue, so none of that's going to be a problem, okay? All right. So we're just rolling side to side, maybe like an inch or two, and that's all.
So here, if you find a spot, one particular part of that rotation where it's the most tender, you can choose to kind of find it, embrace it, and then just apply pressure in a motionless position. And that left arm, the arm that's being treated, you're just trying to relax it as much as possible. And breathe, and let your body just melt over the foam roller. The nature of the material that they make these out of is very good at just giving a little bit, but only a little bit. And so it gives the muscle a chance to relax over top of it. All right, so if you do something like this, holding a single static position because you found something that was tender, then go back to some gentle rolling, okay, and do some searching, okay. So that little spot, that little marble that you found that was really sore, if you roll through it now, is it still there? Okay, I'm going to guess at least half the time that will have dissipated. All right, cool. Let's go to the other side. So right side. All right, same idea. So angle it so the bottom is further away from you than the top. Front of the right shoulder rests on it, okay? So this right arm is just on the floor dead. It's not doing anything. My left arm on the other side is pushing myself over and onto the foam roller, and it's being squished. The act of having one part of the body work while another part relaxes is generally just a really good kind of kinesthetic body awareness exercise to go through, okay? Just like juggling. Juggling requires, movements to be a certain rhythm, but you have to kind of go with the flow. This is like that. All right, let's find a spot. You can pick any spot, not necessarily the most tender spot. Just apply some concentrated pressure and hold it. This is where that right arm is totally relaxed. And you're just applying pressure, and you're noticing how much discomfort this felt like when you started, and if it's reducing. As we're applying a pressure, some of us will be feeling the discomfort dissipate. Other people can feel the discomfort increase. If there is a problem in the muscle that it's not happy, and it starts to relax, and you get to what I think of as the tender center that's soft, and it can start to hurt a lot more. That just means that you have a larger problem than you thought you did, and it's going to take longer for that to resolve. So, perfect. All right. That's the best way to address the chest muscles, okay? So let's go. I'm going to go back to the upper back part. So when we got to this part, we basically went kind of segment by segment, upper spine, and rolled it, right? So now once we're at the back part here, we can actually try to, and this is where I for sure want the hips on the floor to have a little less weight on the foam roller. But from this position, I can take myself and turn into that sideline position that we did earlier, okay? Oh my goodness. So from there, I'm gonna return back to facing straight towards the ceiling. Woo! All right. And then I'm gonna try going the other way and see what that's like. Okay. Now, as I did that, I came across 13 individual spots that need some attention. Just little like, boom, oh, that was sore. And then, okay, I got past it and I get to the next one. Oh my goodness, there's another one. So rather than just torturing myself by going through all 13 of them repetitively back and forth, I would just take it down a notch, and I go across until I feel the first one, and then I'm just gonna oscillate that and relax and try to work through it. I know that I'm not going to fix all of these shoulder problems tonight, so why torture myself? Should be partially fun as well, okay? So that first movement where I went all the way over to one side and then all the way over to the other side was more of an exploratory exercise. Let's see how I'm doing. That turned out, I found a few spots that need addressing and I can address those. Okay. From kind of the next progression from that position is I'm gonna take the roller and put it on the back of my neck, okay? Now, depending on if your roller is a little bit bigger than this and you are a really small person, this might put your neck into an uncomfortable flexed position, okay? So in that event, what you would do is maybe take a towel, put it on the floor so it raises you up a little bit, okay? What I'm going for is to have this foam roller at the base of my skull, okay? You can feel safe that there's no way that you can really do this wrong that's gonna hurt yourself. Just try to put it in the base of your skull. And then from this position, what we're gonna do is look left and look right. And this is absolutely magic. Nice and slow. Now, it's very possible that as you roll left and right, like we did with the shoulders, you're gonna feel like somebody inserted little marbles at the base of your skull. And that's a concern, right? At what point in your life were you abducted by aliens and they put little marbles in the base of your skull? It feels like there's something in there. All those are little areas of muscle that are too tight. So as you get to them, you can go right over them as long as you feel relaxed, or you just kind of rock up to it and then back and up to it and back. And then remember that you are the ice cube melting over the foam roller. You're not going to smash through anything. You're not going to vigorously, with force, reduce any of this muscle tension. You're applying some pressure and the foam roller is pushing back on you. And when your muscles are ready to let go, they will. And they always do. And again, it might take more than 5 minutes, more than 5 days, and more than 5 weeks that they do that. All right. Before we leave this position, have your face nice and centered. And now you just take a nice deep breath in, a nice deep breath out, and then relax here. If you find this comfortable, this could very well feel really, really nice. However, if your neck doesn't like this position, then you're not going to like this and you'll want to change it. But just by letting that foam roller, as it kind of almost tries to roll away from you, and applies gentle traction on the neck. That feels so good. All right, I'm going to slowly come out of that. So the safest way to get out of this position once your neck has completely been relaxed, because we still have gravity and a head that weighs 25 pounds, is, roll over onto your side and get into a position where now it's almost hanging down from the other way. Whew, yeah. And do not go jump on a trampoline right now. Your neck will not be ready for it. Okay, last position. I got 2 minutes for you. So this is how all these sessions end. And sometimes I might be on here for another 15 minutes because I accidentally fell asleep. I've actually done that at work. If anybody's seen me lying on this at work and I was there for a while, I was asleep. Okay, so now you need a foam roller that's at least long enough so I'm getting on it right with my tailbone. I want my hips on the foam roller and I want my head on the foam roller, okay? For sure, head on the foam roller. Now I'm gonna pick my head up and I'm gonna tuck my chin so the back of my neck gets stretched out as far as it can. All right. Oh, I just realized I forgot you might need something else here. What I want is the forearms to be resting on the floor, okay? If you're out here just kind of with your arms flailing in the air, it's nice to have a cushion or a book or something that sits on the floor so the arms can rest. And
and the elbows are bent at about 90 degrees. All right, and so now all we do, there's no rolling, there's no moving, there's just breathing. You can take long, slow, deep breaths. If you're doing the long, slow, deep breath thing, you can pierce the inside of your throat to practice an ujjayi breath, like a yoga type breathing. So it's the air doesn't leave so quickly and you don't hyperventilate. And as you go through the deep breathing exercises, the ribs move. Your rib cage goes up in the front and then back down. But that up and down motion that happens in the front is actually a rotation of the head of your rib on your spine. So as those rib heads rotate, they massage all of your back muscles between the rib head and the foam roller. So you are giving yourself one of the best deep back massages by doing some deep breathing in this position. That's where you may choose to stay for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When you are ready to get up, that's like the question, okay, how does this work now? So I like to just gently roll off to the side. Hopefully the foam roller doesn't take off on me. Oh, okay. And then return to a reasonable position. Oh, and that is foam rolling from the waist up. So to go through that, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on every area. It took the whole half an hour. So to thoroughly roll everything would take, maybe an hour. Maybe that's a once a week exercise, and on a regular basis, you sneak in 15 minutes here and there, okay? So if you have any specific questions right now, I'm happy to hang around and address them. You can always email me, wellness@saskpolytech.ca. And that is foam rolling for the upper body. Thanks for participating. I appreciate it.